Crimes that shocked the world 2022. Case 1. Nancy Pelosi's husband attacked. In the early hours of October 28th, an intruder entered the home of Nancy and Paul Pelosi in San Francisco and violently attacked Paul Pelosi, who is 82 years old, with a hammer. David DePapa, a 42-year-old man, gained access to the home after 2 a.m. by breaking a glass paneled door at the rear of the home. At the time Nancy was away in D.C., he woke Pelosi up shortly after 2 a.m. while holding a hammer. He repeatedly asked, "Where's Nancy?" Surveillance footage captures the intruder's brazen demeanor as he casually trespasses onto the sprawling grounds, nonchalantly placing a backpack on the earth. His calculated movements consume nearly 6 agonizing minutes, culminating in the shattering of a glass door, breaching the once impenetrable barrier. What truly captivates the mind in this harrowing saga is the cryptic 911 call made by Pelosi himself, all while standing mere inches away from his attacker. Sensing the imminent danger, Pelosi tactfully masked his plea for help, cautiously hinting at the presence of an intruder. Concealing his words in code, he desperately conveyed to the dispatcher that something was amiss, admitting his uncertainty about the intruder's identity, thereby avoiding raising suspicion. He covertly tries to tip off the 911 dispatch, stating there's an intruder inside. Pelosi can be heard saying he thinks everything's good, but I think there's a problem, and that he does not know who the person is.
Okay, what's the gentleman's name?
I don't know. What's that? My name's David. The name is David.
Okay, and who is David?
I don't know. What's that? I'm a friend of theirs. Yeah, he says he's a friend, but as I said, I've never...
But you don't know who he is?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
He's telling me I'm being very leading, so I got to stop talking to you, okay?
The urgency of the situation prompted a swift response from law enforcement. 2 police officers were dispatched to the scene, arriving shortly after 2:30 a.m. As they confronted the bewildering scene before them, a chilling twist unfolded. Both the assailant and Pelosi stood at the door, their hands gripping the very same hammer. In a shocking turn of events, the intruder, identified as David DePapa, seized full control of the weapon and unleashed a merciless assault upon Pelosi's defenseless frame, Pelosi hitting him over the head with a hammer. This shocking attack sends Pelosi to the ground, lying in a pool of blood. In a swift and decisive response, law enforcement swiftly apprehended the intruder, restraining him and ensuring his immediate arrest at the scene. Meanwhile, Paul Pelosi was rushed to the hospital, his battered body in dire need of medical attention. The chilling events that unfolded were captured in harrowing detail through the lens of the police body cameras, revealing the disturbing nature of the attack.
How you doing? What's going on, man? Drop the hammer. Hey. What is going on?
I'm not getting an answer on call.
We're 14 Everton, back up code 3.
Code 3, back up at 26.
Give me your hand!
Units code 3.
Give me your hand!
40 Broadway for 14 out.
Pelosi's injuries proved to be grave, necessitating surgical intervention to address a fractured skull, as well as medical treatment for the wounds sustained on his hands and arms. As the investigation unfolded, a troubling motive began to emerge, woven together by the assailant's own chilling statements. It became evident that this horrifying incident bore the hallmarks of a politically motivated act, driven by a singular obsession with Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker. With menacing threats of breaking her kneecaps unless the truth was revealed, the assailant's intentions became all too clear. As legal proceedings commenced, the assailant, David DePape, maintained his plea of not guilty, further deepening the complexities of the case. The charges brought against him carry severe consequences, potentially leading to a sentence of 13 years to life. Case 2. Nancy Brophy. On that fateful day, June 2, 2018, a dark and sinister event unfolded at the Oregon Culinary Institute, shattering the peaceful atmosphere. Daniel Brophy, a dedicated culinary instructor, left for work as he did countless times before, unaware of the harrowing fate that awaited him. tragically, his life was abruptly cut short by a shocking act of violence within the confines of the culinary school. Brophy was shot and found murdered in the Oregon Culinary Institute by students in the kitchen where he was preparing for the day.
I have been teaching since the Oregon Culinary Institute opened.
The investigation took a twisted turn when suspicion began to cast its shadow on Nancy Brophy, Daniel's own wife. Initially, she claimed innocence, providing an alibi of walking the dogs and taking a shower during the time of the murder. However, the meticulously gathered evidence started to unravel her carefully constructed story. Surveillance footage captured Nancy's unmistakable presence at the culinary school, arriving and departing within a short 13-minute window, coinciding with the heinous incident. Caught in a web of mounting suspicion, Nancy Brophy adjusted her narrative, attributing her previous omission to the overwhelming stress of the day. She now recalled making a coffee run, attempting to justify her movements during that critical time frame. But the actions that followed only served to deepen the investigators' growing frenzy. In a stunning turn of events, Nancy Brophy sought to claim life insurance policies shortly after her husband's murder. Her desperate bid to secure financial support came with a chilling motive, proving to the insurance company that she was not a suspect in the ongoing murder investigation. As if grasping for straws, she even implored the police to provide a statement exonerating her, a request that was met with steadfast refusal as it ventured into unprecedented territory. With each revelation, the case against Nancy Brophy grew stronger, weaving a disturbing tapestry of deceit, greed, and calculated actions. As the wheels of justice continued to turn, the truth behind Daniel Brophy's tragic demise remained the focal point of a relentless pursuit for answers. The chilling tale of the How to Murder Your Husband author took a shockingly real turn as she found herself on trial for the very crime she had written about. Nancy Brophy, known for her provocative literary works, stood accused of orchestrating the murder of her own husband. Behind the facade of their troubled marriage lay a labyrinth of financial struggles, further exacerbated by her husband's substantial life insurance policies. Circumstantial evidence wove a compelling narrative, pointing directly at Nancy as the mastermind behind the heinous act. Her initial false statement regarding her whereabouts cast a shadow of doubt on her credibility, painting a picture of an untrustworthy figure. The financial motive loomed large, with her husband's life insurance policies valued at a staggering $1.4 million. The allure of a $300,000 house awaiting her in the aftermath only added to the puzzle. The shocking revelation that Daniel had suffered 2 gunshot wounds from a Glock gun added fuel to the prosecution's case. Unveiling a startling twist, it emerged that Nancy had acquired a ghost gun kit, a disturbing attempt to obscure the gun's ownership. Yet she insisted that these purchases were merely for research purposes related to a new book she was working on. She maintained that she had given the gun to her husband for his protection, an assertion met with skepticism. The once celebrated romance novelist faced the ultimate consequence for her alleged actions. Sentenced to life in prison, Nancy Brophy now resides behind the cold walls of the Coffee Creek Correctional Facility in Wilsonville, Oregon. A chance for parole will only materialize when she reaches the remarkable age of 92, serving as a haunting reminder of the dark path her life had taken. Case 3. Breonna Taylor. In the dark hours of March 13, 2020, tragedy struck when police raided the apartment of Breonna Taylor in Louisville, Kentucky. The 26-year-old young woman, peacefully watching TV in her bedroom alongside her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, would become an innocent victim in a fateful turn of events. As the police approached the apartment, they were met only with the glow of the TV, as the rest of the dwelling remained in darkness. The pivotal question at the heart of the case revolved around whether the officers had announced themselves at the door. While they claimed they had, Walker maintained that he had heard no such announcement, mistaking the knocking for that of intruders. With tensions mounting, the situation escalated rapidly. In the darkness, police then forced their way through the door, and in complete darkness, Walker fired a warning shot at an officer's leg, a desperate act of self-defense. In the chaos that ensued, the officers unleashed a hail of gunfire, releasing a total of 32 bullets. Tragically, Taylor was struck 6 times, succumbing to her injuries. Shockingly, the officers did not immediately enter the apartment to discover the devastating outcome, leaving Taylor's lifeless body undiscovered for a period of time. Adding to the already harrowing scene, another officer, Brett Hankinson, blindly discharged 10 rounds through a window and glass door from the side of the apartment. In the aftermath, Walker found himself facing charges of assault and attempted murder of an officer. However, these charges were ultimately dismissed, acknowledging the complexity and confusion of the situation.
Okay, I can do it. You should have a picture.
Hey, Roger, get up here. What's up? Keep walking backwards. Do not do anything else. Do not reach down. Keep walking backwards. Walk back to me. Keep on walking. Now. You're going to fucking prison, that's what's going on. What did I do? For the rest of your fucking life. What did I do? Who else is in the apartment? Nobody, my girlfriend's dead. Inside? Yes, somebody.
The death of Breonna Taylor reverberated across the United States, sparking outrage and igniting months of protests in Louisville and beyond. Prominent figures, including Oprah Winfrey and LeBron James, raised their voices, demanding accountability and justice for Taylor's untimely death. The rallying cry of "Arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor" echoed through social media, capturing the collective anguish and plea for change.
Until your investigation returns the results that the police officers who murdered.
The aftermath of the tragic events in Breonna Taylor's case shed a glaring light on the profound failures within the police investigation. Criticism mounted as it became apparent that the raid suffered from inadequate planning and reckless execution. Troubling reports emerged, revealing that officers had deactivated their body cameras before entering the premises, casting doubt on the transparency of their actions. Furthermore, it was revealed that the police possessed insufficient intelligence, unaware of Walker's presence or the fact that Taylor's sister and baby were also in the residence. The repercussions of these failures were not taken lightly. 4 officers faced charges of civil rights violations, including one who was accused of fabricating information to obtain the search warrant for Taylor's apartment. Among them, Officer Brett Hankinson faced additional consequences for his actions. Fired from the police force, he was charged with first-degree wanton endangerment for indiscriminately firing through the window and door of Taylor's apartment. However, he ultimately pleaded not guilty and was acquitted of the charges against him. In an effort to address the tragic events and their underlying issues, the city of Louisville reached a settlement with Taylor's family. As part of this agreement, the city paid a substantial sum of $12 million to the family and committed to implementing reforms in police practices, acknowledging the need for change and justice.